Okay guys, in today's video I'm going to be using the new Sanctic Conclave box set that was very kindly sent to me by Games Workshop to show you guys how to paint up a Grand Master in a Dreadknight. It is obviously one of those mainstay units that a lot of people for a lot of years will have used to lead their Grey Knight armies, but there has not been an actual model for it for the longest time. You've just taken a regular Dreadknight, painted it a little bit differently, I guessed, but that has all changed now with the additional sprue they put into this box set to really add some kind of nice fancy details and stuff to this miniature. I had a lot of fun getting it built and painted. It's actually the first Dreadknight that I've ever done. Even though I've owned Grey Knights before, Dreadknights have not always stood out to me as a very exciting unit, but painting this today has maybe changed my mind, and we'll get into that in today's video. Okay, without further ado, let's dive in, get it painted. Okay, so this is the sub-assemblies that I have the Grandmaster in his Nemesis Dreadknight in. I have him, obviously, as a completed piece, sprayed black and then sprayed silver as a great base coat for starting the painting process. I have left his head out of the actual knight itself, and I have that here where I've sprayed black and then sprayed a light grey. Won't be covering that in this video, it will just appear painted later on, because I do believe that most people put a helmet on it, in which case you just glue it on and follow the same steps for the Dreadknight. I also have this custom base that I printed. It's a standard Games Workshop plastic base, and I just printed a base topper for it. If you want to know what they're all about, I will link them down below as well. No affiliate, no nothing, just I used them for a video the other day and I got so many comments asking where they came from, so I will leave a link down below so you can go check them out for yourself and purchase them from my mini factory if you so wish. Okay, with the miniature ready to paint, I'm going to work on that traditional and classic kind of blue metallic armor first. I'm going to get that like entirely done, and then I'm going to go back and tackle the details on the model. So the first thing that I grabbed is the Guilliman Blue Glaze. I'm not actually sure if Guilliman Blue Glaze is still available by Games Workshop. I'm not 100% sure. Probably should have checked before I started recording, but if it's not, there's a million companies out there who will do alternative blue glaze kind of paints. Two Thin Coats one jumps to mind. That's the one I probably should have used for this video. I've just gone from there, but that's neither here nor there. So I've given the blue glaze a coat across all of the armor panels across this piece. It does not matter if some of it ends up a little bit streaky or a little bit blotchy or a little bit anything like that. We are going to be doing 2 layers of dry brushing over the top of that, which will tidy everything up, but it will leave this nice blue sheen in the background of the color, and it just works a treat. I know Games Workshop sells a Grey Knight blue steel silver paint. I never got on with it too well. I've tried to use it twice now, and it's just not worked for me. If anyone has any ideas how you're supposed to use that properly, please do let me know in the comments below. While you're down there in the comments, please do think about giving the video a like, making sure that you are subscribed, and like I said, dropping any comments you wish to ask. And whilst we're in this dry brushing step of the video, which is just simply a 2-step layer of dry brushing to kind of bring that metallic up, I will get all the boring stuff out of the way. That is super important for me to say. Obviously, it keeps the lights on and the cameras rolling, but a lot of you don't find that interesting. So that is, of course, like I said, like, comment, subscribe. If you want to help support the channel even further, help it grow to greater heights and get more content from me, there's links to things like channel membership and Patreon down below. If you also want to buy some Warhammer or any other hobby products for yourself and save yourself some money, I will leave 3 links down below. If you're in Ireland, I will leave a link for Underworld Gaming. If you're in the United Kingdom, I will leave a link for Element Games. And if you're in the rest of Europe, except for those 2 places, my hobby place link will be linked there as well. And all of those places will give you fantastic discounts on Games Workshop stuff, and then a little kickback to the channel as well. So it's a win-win for both of us. Okay, that's out of the way. We can now focus on the rest of this painting video. Like I said, we're going to go for Ironbreaker and then Runefang Steel as the 2 dry brushes we're going to go to, which will give us a nice, really bright metallic color, which of course is very traditional for Grey Knights. They have some of the finest equipment in the galaxy, and that should really stand out. You can see when you look at the steel, it still very much has that light blue tinge to it, which I think works a treat. We then grabbed our traditional Black Templar Contrast, one of our mainstay paints that we use for everything. And we are just going to start tackling some of the under parts of the suit. So there is some like soft seal armor joints, kind of where elbows like bend or knees joined, stuff like that. And then there's also a bunch of soft cabling parts that are mostly at the back of the miniature. I like to base coat all of those in black as well and go from there. If you're bothering to do his tilt shield as well at this point, you can do one of the squares of that in black as well. It's up to you. You want to leave the tilt shield silver, that's totally up to you. I'm going to go with the kind of halved, and then the other side is quartered. On the red, black and white, you can see the little skull has a black square around it now. That's from that step. And also all the counterweights and stuff like that got done with a little coat of that. From here, we're going to move over to Blood Angel's red contrast. And red is definitely a color that goes with Grey Knights quite a lot. They use it for all the casings of their weapons. Banners are also quite often red. Any capes or loincloths, anything like that are red. Obviously the Inquisition symbol, which you will find across a lot of Grey Knight armor. They have very close ties to some of the Inquisition, specifically the Demon Hunter side of them. Makes sense, right? And then obviously I'm working on that tilt shield as well. So I did the tilt shield half red. Later on in this video, I did pause and was like, okay, time for transfers. Because if you look at the examples they've given of this miniature, there's clearly a white sword symbol and a kind of a golden sun star symbol, which go on that tilt shield. So I went through the box trying to find a transfer sheet. None in there. So I don't know where those transfers came from. I don't think they're free-handed. So unfortunately, my symbols won't be going on until I find something appropriate. But it was a little bit disappointing to see that. Agros Dunes was then brought in for all of the kind of parchmenty bits. So the big awesome demonic tome that's strapped across his back. All of the purity seals or any of the kind of those lettering bits that exist across the armor panel, you can do with Agros Dunes as well. Okay, from here, we're going to take our Retributor Armor Gold. We're going to take our time and we're going to find all of those gold details that exist across this piece and get it blocked in with this color. Which on a Grey Knight piece, there tends to be quite a lot of gold mixed in with all that silver. So all of the kind of the names and kind of demonic words etched across all their armor are going to get a coat of gold. The kind of trim that goes around the Inquisition symbol, gold. The sword hilt and stuff that's coming off the back banner, the back book banner thing, gold. And any other bits and pieces like that. Like when I was painting this myself, I literally just Googled new Dreadknight and I got the image from the Warmag community, opened that image in a new tab and had it up in front of the screen. And I obviously used that to help me decide where all the gold was to help me not miss any bits and pieces. Even now, as I describe it to you, I forgot that there's like an iron halo on the Grandmaster one, which is meant to go in gold as well. So please do take your time and make sure you do block in all the correct areas and get gold everywhere that it needs to be. Okay, we pretty much have all of our base coats on ready to go. So for this, we're going to shade down the model. So we're not going to touch that blue silver, but everywhere else is going to get a coat of Nuln Oil. Obviously the hanging chains, his awesome big mace powered whip thing. I should have really also figured out what that was called. I'm sure it has a cooler name than mace whip thing. But that's going to get a coat of Nuln Oil as well. The weapon with the red gun casing, all the kind of servo joints and stuff coming up over his shoulder blades. The books, the red, the gold, all those bits. Make sure you get a nice coat of black on those. Okay, once that is dried, it's time to start the layering process, which is actually closer to the end of painting this miniature than you would expect. So I'm going to go for Mephiston Red and Evil Sun Scarlet as the two layer paints I'm going to use for all those red details. That includes casing on his awesome new quad melt barrel cannon thing, which is just so cool looking. And the tilt shield, obviously the loincloth, which is the size of a cape or a banner. And any other red details you can find around the model. And we're going to very carefully go around and highlight them. These bits will actually stand out quite a lot when people look at them on the tabletop. So do take a little bit of time and care with them and get them painted up. I know this guy can take a second weapon on the other arm. I honestly didn't know which one to pick. So I went for all of the new equipment, obviously the quad melta cannon and the new mace, which comes on the new sprue. And there's awesome other options. So I have those pieces to the side. I will get whichever one I decide, sprayed it up, painted and glued on at some stage. But for now, I'll just leave it as the one gun and the awesome combat weapon. And like I said, when we have finished with the Mephiston Red, we will jump in with that Evil Sun Scarlet. And this is where we get to take our time and be a little bit more precise. And get those red pieces layered up for that second time. And it does make all the difference. You can see how bright and vibrant the red is here against the silver, the gold and the black. It really adds that really nice splash of color to the model. We're now going to go into Iron Breaker once again, and we're going to use this to highlight all of the silver and gold parts. Not that bluey armor, the blue tinge silver, not that bit, but all the other gold and silver parts across this model we're going to highlight. So as you can see, I'm going along with that Inquisition style there. I'm just adding a little edge highlight around the sharp points. of those. Obviously going to highlight that skull in the center, chains, the rest of the gun that isn't red, the chain that holds that big awesome mace, any of those bits and pieces. You add a little bit of iron breaker to it. It's going to make it pop, help it blend in with the rest of the model and look fantastic. From here, we have to layer up all of that kind of parchment, the pages on the book, any purity seal parchment, and any of those bits and pieces that exist across the model. Obviously, it's like open books on armor. And you could leave those as silver or gold, but I'd imagine the artisans on Titan are skilled enough to make the books embedded in the armor and the scrollwork embedded in the armor actually look like books and scrollwork. So I would say you would just paint them like traditional books and it would look fine. Okay, from here we're going to work up those black areas. So Corvus Black was brought out and we simply highlighted the black areas across the model. So obviously the big kind of, well, the joke of the baby carrier section that goes across the chest, there's some black in the middle of that we're going to highlight. Any of the soft seals in the armor, if you so wish to add an extra highlight to that, you can. I actually leave those bits alone. All the counterweight bits that on the back get highlighted with the black, and obviously some of the big servo arms going over his shoulders kind of strengthen his blows and allow him to carry such powerful weapons. Have a lot of black on them, so we're going to highlight those areas with Corvus Black as well. Now, like I said, I was not going to show on camera how I painted the face because I thoroughly believe 90% of people will just glue on a finished Grey Knight like armored head onto the model and it will just get dry brushed up with the same way you've done the rest of the armor on the model. I've also gone off and done the base separately. Yeah, it looks really cool. I really like the look of it, the kind of dark reds like soil. Obviously, it's such a beautiful contrast to the actual Dreadknight itself. And when you stick it on, it just makes it scream. I love that so much. Once it's glued in place, the head is glued on. I'm going to add a little bit of weathering powder. I use this to kind of help blend the feet into the model. And add a last bit of touch, a little bit of dustiness to the base. So I use a really dark red, kind of rusty iron one for some of the crevices and recesses. And anywhere that I think would be like blasted away. So obviously this guy is striding over the top of a broken and busted wall. That's where I go for black, because I believe ordnance has obviously been shot through and damaged this, and you want to have like burn marks and stuff on the kind of buildings. So I use some black weathering powder for that. When you have all the desired weathering powder in place, all I do is hit it with a coat of matte varnish and from a can. I give it a quick spray to protect the model and obviously help all of that weathering powder stick in place and look great. So with that, we will have our finished Grandmaster in Nemesis Dreadknight, fully painted and ready to serve the Emperor. Like I said at the beginning, this is the first time I've ever painted one of these guys, so it was a joy to do. The last step, of course, of all my miniature builds and paints is to make sure I can put this model away safely and keep it protected from dust, grubby hands, and overcrowded shelves, which I've had a problem with in the past. So making sure the base bottom is nice and smooth. I attach my Warmag magnet to it. Gives me a really nice, strong, and secure seal. And then, of course, all I need to do is find one of my Warmag cases, which is tall enough to hold this. So this is the 9-liter extra large. So it's a 9-liter tub with one of the nice lids. Hey, nice sticky sheet in there to match his base. Plop him in. Nice and safe, close it up, put it on a shelf, and begin working on the rest of my models. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, do all those things I mentioned at the start. Like, comment, make sure you're subscribed. Think about joining Patreon or the channel membership or all the affiliate links down below for purchasing, saving you guys some money, and getting a kickback. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you in the next video.